This is a special edition of Spittin' with Spitter. I am TJ Spitter. Tonight, I'm the man behind the camera. This episode is very important to me. You are not going to see me this evening. That's how important it is. Before we get the show started, I want to shout out my sponsors real quick. For all your vaping needs, go to Lehigh Vape 822 Nazareth Pike, located in Nazareth. Again, Lehigh Vape 822 Nazareth Pike. And for all your pest control services, contact Wall to Wall Pest Control Services. If you got pests, call the Wall. Get 10% off when you try their services. Bed bugs, bees, mice, ants, cockroaches, call the Wall. Their number is 1-610-570-4835. Wall to Wall Pest Control Services. Contact Chuck Rockmore. Tell him TJ sent you. Now for my guest, we are here with my man Bo, who has an amazing story of recovery, his journey, and to give him his flowers. When I first came around, when I first tried to change my life, this guy helped me and helped save my life. And I appreciate you and I love you, brother. And I would like for you to share your story on this platform.
Love you too, TJ. First, I'm very humbled to be here. I feel very blessed. God has been very good to me. I thought a little bit about what to share. And I think I was going to start at the beginning.
Right.
And, first I'd like to thank God for everything. The good, the bad, the indifferent. It's all been a blessing, because it gives me the opportunity to learn and grow from everything that I experience. I was thinking, and I want to take everybody back for a minute.
Right.
I want to take everybody back to the beginning of our lives.
Right.
Before we became corrupted.
Right.
Before our thoughts were transformed into something bad.
Right.
Something fearful, something lacking. And I was thinking about when I was a child and how I loved life.
For sure.
And when I saw the sunshine didn't just shine on me, it shined in me.
Right.
And then something happened. I realized I grew up in an interracial marriage.
Okay.
My dad's black, my mom's white.
Mm.
And at that time, I thought I had 4 sisters and 2 brothers.
Right.
And I didn't learn what fear was until my stepdad was very abusive.
Mm-hmm.
He beat everybody.
Right.
With whatever, very vicious. And I remember, the first time that I really felt fear, he had me on the lead line of this pony. Mm-hmm. Because we had a riding stable in Quakertown. We had 36 horses and ducks and all kinds of stuff. And he had me on this lead line with this pony, and he was beating this pony with a whip. Mm. And what happened is I fell off the pony, and the pony stepped on my eye. Mm. And it cut my eye really bad, and I had to go to the hospital. And they lied. Mm. They lied about what happened. And it taught me 2 things. It's one, people don't tell the truth.
Right.
And I found out what fear was. Mm. And the way he ruled my family with an iron fist. And then it took that innocence away. It took what I felt about life. It changed. Right. At that time. And what happened was we had somehow lost the farm and we moved into the city. And I moved into a black neighborhood.
Okay.
So I was a white boy in a black neighborhood. The white kids didn't like me because my dad was black. Black kids didn't like me because my mom was white.
Right.
But my dad was still very abusive. He drank a lot. He beat us a lot. He molested my sisters. Mm. And I was always afraid. And, even up until this day, my self-esteem has been challenged by the things he did to me, because regardless of what I did that he asked me to do, it was never right. And he wanted me to be just like him.
Right.
And I can never be like him. Because there was something inside of me that knew that's not what I wanted to be.
Right.
So, you know, I had experiences like, you know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like I had experiences. He hung me on my tippy toes from a rafter in the basement on a chair and left me there for hours. And, you know, I was always getting beatings, and like, you know, this was an early age, and like I'd already started using because all my brothers and sisters were much older than me. And, you know, he drank, so like he'd give me alcohol, and like that was fun.
Right.
You know, and I do know that I like the taste.
Yeah.
You know, when I got my first taste, because it stopped me from feeling the way I was, the worthlessness and the insecurity and inadequacy and the pain that I felt of being me.
Right.
So then what happened was I started to learn how to run away. And I became a chronic runaway because I would rather be out on the streets than be at home. Because like if I had a curfew and I was late, I wasn't going home to get an ass whooping.
Sure.
You know, and you know, ass whoopings was like getting beat like a man. You know, so what happened was, you know, that innocence started going away.
Right.
Because while I was running away, I was also being picked up by pedophiles. You know, so I was molested a lot as a child. And because I didn't know how to express that or articulate what was going on and what I was expressing, I didn't even know how to do that. I didn't have that capacity. Right. So what happened was they thought I was crazy. So at 8 years old, I wind up in mental institutions. Yeah. And they was giving me like Thorazine and Haldol and shit like that. And then what happened was I could see the progression of my life. Right. And my spirit just kept getting darker and darker throughout the experiences that I was having and the information that I was gathering out on the streets. Right. So then what happened was, like, you know, after a couple of mental institutions, they said, nah, he's not mentally ill. Right. He's delinquent. So I started going to juvenile institutions. And I've probably been to most of the juvenile institutions in Pennsylvania. And, you know, what happened, like, I'm not formally educated.
Right.
I got my GED when I was 15 at Cornwall Heights Maximum Security for Kids. Besides that, it's all been book study. You know, it's all been life experience. So what happened was, like, you know, probably when I was like 13 years old, I decided I was never going to let another man touch me like that again.
Right.
And on one, it was a very defensive move. And then on another hand, it really led me down a dark road, you know, because the things that I had to do, I learned the power of violence. Right. And that turned me into a very dark person, because that's how you have to survive. Yeah. You know, and what happened was, you know, I don't want to get too deep into it, because it's like, you know, I'm not on here to like glamorize that lifestyle. Yeah. But I want to let you know, I want to give you a snapshot of where my life was. And then we're going to talk about recovery, because that's what it's about.
For sure.
You know, so if I would say what my drug of choice is, my drug of choice is more.
Talk to him.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Regardless of what it is, all the fuck I want is more.
Exactly.
You know, yeah. It's like, you know, it's the same thing, like even today, you know what I mean? I'm going to have 30 years clean on October 2nd. And you know what? I can't have one scoop of ice cream. I got to have two.
Yeah.
I got to have more. It's all about more, yeah, right?
Sure. Right.
I can't have one piece of candy. I got to have two.
I need the whole bag.
Right. It's all about more.
Right.
You know, so to make a long story short, because I really don't, you know, in literature that I study, it says it's not where we were that counts, no, but where we are going.
Absolutely.
Okay. But I want to give everybody an idea of the pain and the humiliation and the degradation that I experienced throughout my life, you know, because I want people to know that no matter where you come from or what you've experienced, that you can be free. Absolutely. You can find freedom.
Yes.
You know, once you stop blaming people, places, and things for your unwillingness to accept responsibility for yourself and your life in the direction that it goes, right? Then you find freedom once you stop doing that stupid shit, right?
Right.
So anyway, to make a long story short, I spent 20 years of my life in and out of institutions since I was 8 years old. Okay. I had never been out on the street for an entire year since I was 8 years old until I got clean, October 2nd, 1991. So what happened, you know, and I like to talk about the progression, because like we can see the progression when we take our inventory and we become introspective about who we are, right? And we get in touch with who we are. Mm-hmm. Then we can make adjustments, we can make corrections, we can change, you know. So when I got clean in 91, I don't share with too many people how I got clean. Right. You know, because like, you know, like I said, I did 20 years in institutions, I did 10 years in a penitentiary. And the last time I got out of Graterford, back in the day, they used to give me an emergency check and like a $1.35 in food stamps. Right. So I got out, and, you know, I was no longer a victim. I was now the predator. Right. You know, there comes a time like when you're like a kid, you could say, oh, you know, you could blame shit. Yeah. You know, but like once you start making adult decisions, you're responsible. For sure. You know, so like what happened was I got out of Graterford, and like I referred to that deep dark hole that just kept getting bigger and bigger because I was vicious. I didn't care about anything or anybody. Right. The only thing I cared about was myself. I didn't care who I hurt. And like at that point in time, like I burnt all my bridges. Nobody wanted me at their house. None of my family wanted me. Right. And the Allentown Rescue Mission accepted me as a home plant. Mm. And I'll get to that part too, because that's deep. Because what happened was I get out with the emergency check and the food stamps. The first thing I do is get high, you know, and I got high in this bathroom and I overdosed. And when I woke up, the guy said, oh my God, I thought you were gone. I was like, you got any more? Jeez. You know, so it's like I spent all the emergency check, I flipped the food stamps, and then I realized, oh shit, I gotta be in Allentown to report in. Right. So I started walking, and I got up to Route 100 and I started walking, and I got tired. Yeah. You know, and I was in super shape. And I'm not talking about being tired physically. I'm talking about something made me tired in my spirit. Right. And I laid down on the side of the road and I went to sleep. Right. Now, if anybody knows about anything about Route 100, there's thousands of cars that go up and down there. Nobody saw me. But I will say this, when I opened up my eyes, the only thing I saw was the sun. And that deep, dark hole that was always inside me was filled. And it has never, ever been empty since. And I have not used a chemical since then. You know, and it is the most precious gift that I've ever been given. When we talk about grace, grace is unmerited help from God. Right. That's what I was given because I didn't have no intentions of getting clean and staying clean. My only intention was to like find the next scam, find the next dirty deed I can get into. Sure. Because my entire thought system was based in fear. My entire thought system was based in being a convict. You know, I'm like fresh out of Graterford. I go to this fellowship. I joined this fellowship. I'm listening to people. They're telling me what to do. I'm looking at them. I don't understand what the fuck they're saying. This shit's like Chinese to me. But what I did know is that I didn't want to be like that anymore.
Right.
And it's been like an incredible journey of transformation, you know. And, you know, I'll be honest, you know, the journey for me is through the 12 steps and 12 traditions.
Sure.
You know, it's about taking my own inventory. It's about having that desire to change. It's about having that that desire to remain teachable, to stay hungry. You got to stay hungry for this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't stay stuck on stupid, part, and dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, at the same time, it's like, you know, the things that I've experienced in recovery, you know, some of them have been really hard lessons. Some of them have been like very joyous.
Sure.
You know, I've accomplished a lot of things in the time that I've been clean, you know, but I think the biggest accomplishment is that I love myself. I love and accept me for me and my entirety, flaws and all. This is what you see is what you get.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's like I started that journey, and you know, I want to give a shout out to my wife, because she is my rock. She is like helped me transform and level up in ways that I never knew existed.
Right.
You know, and you know, we got a saying, right? The full fruit of a labor of love lives in the harvest, and that always comes in its right season.
Yeah.
You know, so we met in the right season. Yeah. You know, because how I define that is that things happen when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know, it's like God got a plan for everybody, but in order to receive God's grace, you got to be in place.
It's all
you know what I'm saying? Because no, I mean for real. No, because like if you ain't ready, if you're not ready and prepared to receive what God is willing to give you,
you're gonna miss it.
Exactly, or you won't get it. Yeah. You know, because blessings are out there for everybody, and if you ain't in position, somebody else gonna get that blessing.
Right, you gotta be in position.
You know what I mean? So you know, the things that I've experienced in recovery, you know, when I first got clean, a lot of my friends had HIV, and they were dying. A lot of people were dying here, you know, and I've never ran from death. I've embraced it. I had a sponsee that I like sponge fed water while he was dying in the hospital. And man, you know, Pablo was an awesome human being.
Right.
Pablo would give you like the greatest hug ever, and he would kiss you on the cheek. You know, and he was such a beautiful human being. You know, and the disease has no mercy. It doesn't care where you came from. It doesn't give a fuck about how much money you got, who you think you are, where you came from. You know, it has no limits. You know, and you know, so like I experienced a lot of that when I first got clean. And but what, you know, like I said, I really didn't understand, you know, and to be honest to everybody, you know, before I got clean, I didn't know how to express my feelings.
Right.
I didn't know how to talk to nobody. All my shit was like ghetto.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of us are like that when we first come around.
I'm like, I'm still more comfortable, and I can get real comfortable being ghetto.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but to develop a more mature consciousness about who you are and what your purpose in life is. You know, a lot of people say it begins and ends with me. That's bullshit.
Right. Shit.
Okay, because the real honest truth is it begins and ends with God.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's how we got here. That's how we're going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, so let's not get it fucked up. All right. You know, so, you know, when we talk about the disease of addiction, fuck the disease of addiction.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because we have the opportunity. See, the miracle of recovery is that we get the opportunity to participate in a process which is greater than the disease of addiction.
Sure.
Everybody looks at the disease like it's this fucking monster and boogeyman or whatever. The reality is the disease ain't shit because the disease cannot stand up to one spiritual principle.
Right.
If you practice honesty, the disease can't fuck with that.
Right.
Open-mindedness, can't mess with it.
Willingness.
Compassion, empathy,
Mm-hmm.
tolerance,
Right.
patience, forgiveness, all these things we learn how to apply in our lives and recover. And they're called spiritual principles. And the definition of a principle is actually a law.
Right.
And it's the law of God.
Right.
The universal concept in everything that we experience, in my own maturity, I can say that I now respect all paths to recovery.
Right. Sure.
There was a time where I was like, you do what I do, or like, you ain't shit. You know what I mean? That shit is bogus.
I think we're all ignorant and naive at one point.
Yeah.
To that.
Yeah. But like now, I'm like, I'm happy, joyous, and free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you do you, I'll do me.
For sure.
And my whole idea of recovery is to find a oneness and a wholeness with the God of my understanding. To learn how to love unconditionally without expectation or condition.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things that we learn in recovery, because what we come in here with is a thought system of fear.
Yeah.
The insecurities, the inadequacies, the sense of self-worthlessness, all the character defects, those are all manifestations of fear.
Right.
And when we get clean, wherever you get clean or how you get clean, I really don't give a fuck, whatever floats your boat, you know what I mean? And that shit's working, keep rolling the fuck out of it, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, what we're introduced to in recovery is a thought system of love. And that thought system is made up of spiritual principles.
Right.
Spiritual principles are universal. That is in every positive philosophy or religion that exists. Right. Ever. So being in the process, for myself, right, I will say I'm on the, you call this walk through recovery. Sometimes I've crawled, sometimes I've stumbled, I've fallen, and guess what?
Here we are.
I haven't fallen, can't get up.
All right.
I've fallen and got the fuck back up. Stronger, more humble. You got to surrender to win, right? And it's like, I love the process because, like, I've always been a fighter.
Yeah.
This is an enemy that I like. I like this enemy.
Right.
Because the enemy is in me.
Yeah.
You're not the enemy.
Right.
Nobody's the enemy. The enemy is within me.
Right.
And like the thing about, like, that people don't understand, like, when we talk about powerlessness, right? That's not something you can do. Powerlessness is a state of being.
Yeah.
Right. That only comes through God's grace. Yeah. Right. Because, like, you can't exert power and be powerless.
Doesn't go hand in hand.
No, not at all.
Exact opposite of each other.
Yeah. So, the things that I've experienced in recovery, my youngest son was born with congenital heart defects.
Okay.
And at first, we thought he was just going to have an AV canal defect. Now, for those listening, pay close attention, please. Because this is what happened, right? They said he had an AV canal defect. And when he was born, they did an ultrasound on him right away. And his shit was like, it went crazy. The whole hospital went crazy because when they did the ultrasound on him, he had ASB, RSB, which is transposition of great vessels. What the great vessels do, one pumps blood to the body, the other one pumps blood to the lungs, and that's where the oxygenation process occurs. I was numb. I didn't know what to do.
Right.
I was powerless. I had to surrender. I had to let these people do what they did. So they said, do you want him to go to St. Joe's or do you want him to go to Hershey? We said we want him to go to Hershey. So he goes to Hershey, and they did an operation on him. He had a pacemaker when he was 5 days old. He's had multiple operations. God bless him, but the moral of the story is that if it wasn't for the defect,
right,
he'd have been stillborn.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is that wherever you're at in your process of growth,
Mhm.
it's I can't stand motherfuckers that talk about and judge people with where they're at.
Right.
I love and accept people where they're at.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Man.
Because it's like my only purpose here, the only thing I really want to be, I just want to be a humble servant, man.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I just want to help people. You know what I mean? And if I, sometimes help is no help at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I need to be in that position, because that's my responsibility. My responsibility is to be visible and available.
Right.
And I am visible and available to help anybody at any time if they ask.
Right.
But besides that, I went through the Superman phases of recovery.
Sure.
I can't save everybody. I can't help nobody. Don't want no help.
Super hurt piece.
You know what I mean?
I had to figure that out the hard way.
Because if you're trying to save somebody that don't want no help,
right,
somebody else that wants it is missing the fuck out. So, when I talk about miracles of recovery, this is a miracle. All right. I'm a violent offender.
Right.
I've got 3 violent felony offenses.
Right.
Okay. I won't go into specifics about them.
Sure. No.
But this is the miracle. I got hired as a drug and alcohol counselor for 4.5 years, almost 5 at Lehigh County Prison.
See.
I developed and wrote a program for the women inmates of Lehigh County Prison. I did.
Right.
But what I mean? What I learned from that is like, regardless of where you're at or where you came from or what stigma may be attached to your name,
right,
or what record you got, if God says so, it happens.
That's what's going to happen.
God can open up any door.
Most definitely.
What I would really like to, I call them like, don't let nobody steal your hope.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of hope stealers, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will take away and discourage people from recovery rather than just help them, rather than just fucking be there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want lectures about how you should live or whatever, because I believe that, if you work the 12 steps and 12 conditions, you will become the person that the God of your understanding meant you to be.
Right.
That will not have to be defined by anybody else, because you will learn how to define yourself.
That's it.
I was talking to my wife about something, and for a long time, I believed that the basic premise for people's existence was to be loved and accepted for who they are.
Right.
That's a basic premise to have that and feel that connection.
Right.
But how about this? When you go a little farther down the road, right? I do believe that there is no me without we. At the same time, there comes a time, right, that you have to love and accept yourself for who you are.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because you can't constantly look and crave for other people's validation of who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
And that's what I found today. I'm just a human being.
Yeah, sure.
I ain't trying to be Mr. fucking guru. I'm not here cloud canoeing. I didn't come in the room riding on My Little Pony, shitting out rainbows. I'm just
yeah.
We are one and the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like
Absolutely.
a lot of people don't understand that there is no separation between me and other human beings.
Right.
The only separation is the mind, and the mind is broken. It's been filled with a lot of corrupt thought system. A lot of garbage and disinformation. And we live in this culture where everything has to be divided and separated. you know, and like put into categories and stereotypes and like prejudices and like all that bullshit.
Right.
It's all fucking bullshit. You know, it keeps people from being free.
Yeah.
It keeps people from having unity.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Unity is defined as a state of oneness.
Right.
You know what I mean? There is no separation.
No.
You know, I don't care what you do. You know what I mean? It's like, as long as you respect me, I respect you.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And besides that, everybody that I meet, the only thing I want to do is add something positive to your life.
That's it.
You know, because if I can't do that, then I need to step off.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you ain't, you know, a lot of people just don't know how to shut the fuck up. I mean, for real, you know what I mean? They want to tell everybody else how to live. How about take your own fucking inventory?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How's your life? How the fuck are you living?
Make sure your side of the street is
Because
clean.
like, that's the bottom line. How you living?
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean? Because like, if you're all up in everybody else's tip,
yeah,
right?
What you doing in your own?
What are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? You can tell them motherfuckers that ain't doing no work because they're so worried about somebody else.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
I don't got time to worry about anybody else in this process.
You know, so like in my life today, like I said, I was in Greaterford, right?
Yeah.
Greaterford got 35-foot walls, right? How about in recovery? I've stood on the wall of China.
That's great.
Hand in hand with my wife. I went to that motherfucker, dog. You know what I mean? I got pictures and everything. 18 days toured the whole country.
That's crazy.
You know, not that I want to do a little disclaimer real quick because China's kind of fucked up right now. And they brought us some shit over here that we really don't like. And it's hurt a lot of people.
Mm.
You know, and God bless everybody out there that has suffered as a result of this.
Sure.
You know, because we live in a crazy world, man, but you got to find some peace.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You have to find a way that's going to bring you peace.
Exactly. We were sharing earlier. We were both just sitting out on the deck, vibing. Wasn't a bunch of rah-rah, wasn't a bunch of nothing but just quiet, chilling, you know what I mean? And at peace.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what this is about for me. It's just once you learn how to love yourself and get out of your own way, you know what I mean? And like everything else starts to fall in place.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So what's your life like? I've been quiet this whole time. I've been quiet. I've never been quiet for 33 minutes on my show. So what's your life like today?
My life today is very simple.
Yeah.
I like simple. My idea of like total connection and peace is when my wife and I go hiking and camping. You know what I mean?
Nature.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my wife and I, we go hiking and like we might talk for a few minutes, you know, or a little along the way during the hike. And then like I'm just like one with God and nature.
That's dope.
You know, it's like that's my hit. You know what I mean? We're getting ready to go next month, you know, and that's what we do. You know, that's where I find my peace, and I find peace with my animals. I mean, you know,
I love them. I met them today for the first time, and they're awesome.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen,
all right,
for your viewing pleasure, this is MTV Cribs.
No,
just fucking with you.
But so what? My question for you is: there's somebody out there right now struggling, and they can't figure it out. You know what I mean? They're on their 7th rehab. You know, at a different halfway house, a different IOP, and they can't get this. What advice do you have for them?
Well, to be honest, I don't give advice.
Yeah, I was just I was just
you know what I mean?
Because when I asked it, I was like, I don't give advice.
I share my experience, right?
Yeah.
But it's like this, right? Number one, right, is the realization that my way don't work.
That's it.
My way don't work.
Right.
Now, if my way doesn't work, I got to find out a way that does.
Absolutely.
Okay. And there's a lot of proof out there.
Right.
You know, the first thing I got to do is I got to surrender to win.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what you do.
Can't do
the next thing you do, I don't believe people want to use.
Right.
You know, when you reach that point of desperation where you've been so broken, You know what I mean? That like, I don't believe in bottoms because like there's just another fucking door down there. I've fell through so many bottoms that ain't even
keep
funny.
going further.
But like I think it's a matter of like taking that moment to really get humble and say, God, please help me.
Sure.
Because I think that is the most powerful prayer that we have, because in between obsession and compulsion, that shit happens so quick that the only time you got to say is, God, please help me. People don't use because they want to. People use because they refuse to follow direction. You know what I mean? Where I come from, it says never have we seen a person relapse who follows the program.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
But it's like, all you got to do is ask for help.
That's it.
All you got to do is ask for help, and help is here.
Get out your own way.
Yeah. I mean, like the ego, but like the whole I don't like to talk about the disease of addiction because there's been thousands of books written on addiction.
Right.
And like, in reality, there is no logical, rational way to explain addiction because addiction is insanity.
Yeah.
So how do you rationally and intellectually define addiction? It's impossible.
Yeah. I can define insanity. You know what I mean? But like the actual addiction, which is derived from insanity, is different.
Yeah.
In the same. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like using drugs and alcohol and whatever your flavor might be is insane.
Yeah.
Because you're killing yourself.
Yeah. You're expecting a different result, continually doing the same thing. Like you're continually chasing that first high, and you're never gonna get that back.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I was telling you, like a month and a half ago, I lost a sponsor to overdose.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him 2 days before then. I went to call him, the phone never came up, and then his girl called me when she got the phone back from the police. She found him, and I've directed her to some community services to help her find support for her and her child, and that thing, and that really hurt me, and we were talking about being desensitized.
Yeah.
I've been to many more funerals than I have weddings in the time that I've been clean.
Same.
And I thought I was desensitized too, but that struck a chord in me. At the same time when I was talking about my friend dying of stage 4 pancreatic cancer, that hurt me.
Right.
But it also taught me how precious life is.
Yeah.
And how precious people are. You know what I mean? Whoever is watching this, you know what I mean? You are special. Absolutely. You are worthy. Absolutely. You are loved. You are worthy of love. You are capable of giving love. You're capable, the only limitations that we have are the ones that we place upon ourselves. Yeah. Because like where I go, it says our spiritual condition is the basis for a successful recovery, which offers unlimited growth.
Right.
And that's what I've always tried to focus on. I ain't going to say here like I'm like the perfect example of recovery.
Right.
At any given moment, I could be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Sure. You know what I mean? Just hit the right button.
Yeah.
I'm still vulnerable, but I've also learned, right, that in order to become invulnerable, we must become totally vulnerable.
Right.
There lies a strength, because what you think about me, what you say about me, I really don't care.
Yeah, that matters.
I really don't care, because like, guess what? I already inventoried that probably like 50, 60 times. So like, you're not going to get
There's nothing you can say about me I haven't said about myself already.
Yeah, and there's nothing about me that I'm not going to share with you or anybody else.
Right.
And then thank God for recovery because, like, I was sharing with you, I was in a meeting 3 weeks ago. I made a decision to go to another meeting, and this is addiction. Okay, if you want to know what addiction, this is what addiction really looks like. Okay, so this guy walks in the meeting. He sits down next to me. He got up and he left. I realized, I texted my sponsor. I realized I'm in the wrong meeting.
Right.
So I get up and leave and go to the meeting that I'm supposed to.
Right.
This guy's in the meeting too.
Yeah.
He's sitting across from me, and he's coughing. And I'm like, "You all right? You need me to get you some water or something?" He's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
So the meeting's going on. I look over. He's slumped over. I'm like, "What the fuck?" But like I go right into action, and respond. Okay? That's what we learn in recovery. We learn how to respond rather than react.
Yeah.
When you look at a fireman doesn't react.
No,
he responds.
Right.
So what happened? I go over there. I get him underneath his arms. I say, we got to get him flat. I go down. I listen. He's not breathing. I start doing mouth to mouth and chest compressions, because I'm certified in CPR. That shit freaked me out.
Right.
And the whole time I've been clean, I ain't never had to do that to nobody. But I didn't even think about it. I will say that when I got home, I told my wife not to talk to me, that I had to go brush my teeth.
Yeah.
I was a little shook.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, I wasn't thinking about COVID or disease, I was talking about another human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For so long in this world, people haven't had no value for other human beings.
It's a shame.
Because of their own greed and self-centeredness.
Yeah.
Right? And their desire to like control and manipulate.
We're in that me society.
Yeah.
If it doesn't affect me, I could give a shit less.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not cool to me.
No, it's not. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Because like what I've learned is that the highest form of living is in giving. Yeah. I'm a giver. I'm not a taker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like
I'm learning now as I get older, it's way more gratifying for me to give rather than receive.
Yeah.
It's taken a long time. I still like receiving.
Because in giving, you receive.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? It's like what a lot of people say the impact that I've had on their recovery and the time that I've been clean or I've been associated with them. And I don't even think about it.
No, me neither.
I don't even think about the things I've done because, like, how about this hit, right? If you want to take credit for somebody's success, you also need to take credit for their failure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. But it's like, I'm just a servant.
That's it. We had this conversation earlier, man. Like, I don't really know how to take those compliments. Like, and I always hit them with the generic, I'm just happy to be here. But that's truly how I feel. Like, this really doesn't have anything to do with me. God just put me in like a good position to help or inspire, whatever the compliment is. You know what I mean? God put me there for that reason,
Well, I tell people a lot that, like, when they thank me, like, I can accept that.
Right.
But at the same time, I'll be straight up, right? Like any positive thought or anything inspiring or motivational that I may say, that is a creation of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because before I got clean, I was a dirty, rotten, don't care about anybody. I'd stick a gun in your face and take all your shit, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no capacity, no emotion, no nothing.
Right.
And to like be at an entirely different place. Yeah. I tell people, don't thank me, thank God.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because that's who's really driving. You know what I mean?
I'm just sitting here.
Because and one thing I wanted to say before we close, right? is that what I learned from the rescue mission in big red neon letters up on top of the building, it says God is love. God is love and love is God. You know, that worked for me then. It still works for me.
Still hasn't failed.
You know, but my maturity and what I know has increased, and my maturity's increased. And at the same time, I realize that the more I mature and the less that the more I know, the less I know.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that because I want to continue to learn and grow. I want to be more useful and helping others.
Right.
Because it's not about me.
Nope.
You know?
That's where we get in trouble when we think it is.
Yeah. It's just about, you know, trying to add something positive into this world.
Yeah.
You know, rather than the destruction and chaos of active addiction. You know? And it's like, I am so free today, dog.
Yeah, for sure.
So much freedom.
For sure. Yo, before we get out of here, because, like, you know, everybody calls these interviews, but, like, you invited me to come into your home and come early, and we were just kicking it. This even now, this is just me kicking it with you. Is there anything you want to ask me before we get out of here?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, he was excited too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought about it. You told me something. I was like, what's the most important thing in your life?
God first, then my family.
Amen. What's your biggest struggle right now?
Staying out of my own way.
I heard that.
Like, because it's in the grand scheme of things, it sounds so easy, right? To just stay out of your own way and not, and I'm not like a troublemaker by any means, but like how I think is like, when I say staying out of my own way, it's not diving into negative thoughts, not diving into negative feelings, not playing the woe is me victim game. You know what I mean? Everything that encompasses. Staying out of my own way and trying to be as happy, joyous, and free as possible. You know? My man. Bo, this has been super dope. I'm gonna have to have you on for part 2 because I don't know. There's so much more that we can get into. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna switch the camera on to me. And I'm gonna close out the show. If you're all right with that. Yeah, we back here. It's Spittin' with Spitter. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. I'm TJ Spitter. That was Bo T. Before y'all go, I want to shout my sponsors out again one last time. Chuck Rockmore, I see you, man. Shout out to Chuck, Wall-to-Wall Pest Control Services. Get 10% off when you try their services. Bed bugs, mice, ants, cockroaches. Call the wall. Their number is 1-610-570-4835. It's wall-to-wall pest control services. Contact Chuck Rockmore. Tell him TJ sent you. And Lehigh Vape, man, that's located at 822 Nazareth Pike for all your vaping essential needs. We are out of here. You see, I did my hair today for today's show, man. I want to thank you both for coming on. I appreciate you, my brother, for opening your doors and being hospitable to me, man. Thank you. Always. Catch me Sunday as I interview my man XL. He's coming here and he's going to chop it up with me about mental health, professional football, and hip hop. Peace.